Hi everyone, welcome to the last days. We are here to encourage and to build up our faith as best we can, and we do that by looking at the Word. So today's verse is, "The Lord liveth, and blessed be my rock, and let the God of my salvation be exalted." That's Psalm 18, verse 46. So today I'm making a background in watercolor for my verse. And when I come to put the verse on, I'm going to do it like a flip out. So the verse will show on the front of my page, but it'll be attached to the back of the page and it will make a pocket. I haven't completed it yet, but I have it worked out in my head, so hopefully that will work. And this is not a difficult painting to do. I will link a tutorial of Diane Antone, who did a tutorial a couple of years back, I think it was, and it wasn't difficult. I remember doing it a few times because it was so relaxing, and I did it on different kinds of paper too, and it seemed to me I was getting really good results on the cheap paper. So if you don't have great watercolor paper, that's okay. This should work. I am just taping off my edges because I want to have somewhat of a neat border. And so for today's verse, I actually had this painting in mind, and then I went and looked for a verse that would complement it. I wanted a verse with rock, and since Jesus is our rock, I thought that would be appropriate. He is the rock of my salvation. That's another verse. But when I saw this verse, I thought of the song that we used to sing in church. All right, so I'm sorry, I just used painter's tape, and I forgot to get some of the sticky off, so hopefully my paper won't tear too much later on. All right, so what I'm gonna do after I tape that off is I'm going to draw some rough rock shapes. They don't have to look like anything in particular, although I do like doing one that kind of looks like a heart. So I'm going to do some big ones first. Kind of fill up the space here. The pencil mark's not going to show later, so I'm not too worried about making that light. I'm just kind of ending my rocks here because of the way I have planned to outline everything. My watercolor paper is this one I got at Walmart, so it wasn't very expensive, but you still get nice results like I mentioned. And then after you do the big rocks, you fill in the spaces that are left. The more rocks you put in, though, I warn you, the longer this is going to take, so it's up to you how detailed you get. I'll probably just show you how to get going on this, and then I'll switch over to the one that I painted yesterday. But this should give you a good idea how to go about it. All right, so almost have all the rocks I want. And I don't worry about the shape of them because later on when we do the outlining, they'll change shape a little bit anyway, so very stress-free in that sense. Alright, so I should say that if you haven't been following with us, we're making this for our Living Faith journal, and so our predetermined size was 5.5 this way, 8.5 inches that way, and so that's the size we're working with. And alright, so you can use whatever paints you want or have. This is not how we're getting results today. I don't have very expensive paints. I'm just gonna wet my paints that I do have. So I'll tell you one little secret about the rocks here. Whatever color you start with, they don't have to be clean colors necessarily. I mean, by that I mean you can kind of mix them. I'm going to start on this side. See, that was a green, but it wasn't a pure green. It's got a little bit of brown, I think. And the reason that works, oops, now I forgot where I took that from. What we're trying to do here, oh, and I forgot something. I'll do that after I paint this rock. The way the shadows work is very simple to do with this one. You just drop a little more paint in on one side than you do on the other side. So then if you're consistent with it, it just looks like one, like the shadow or the light is hitting it from one side rather than the other. That's kind of cool. So that's going to be my shady side there. And the other effect that I'm not sure if this was in the video or if I got this somewhere else. I know somebody else covered it, but I'm not sure about the tutorial because it's been a couple years since I watched it, I think. And missed a spot. Okay, so the effect of reverse, which basically means that you can paint over it and the paint won't, it'll look like you didn't paint there because this wax crayon will resist the paint. So what I want to do is just make a couple of marks, like they have stripes in them. So I'm not going to do that on all of them, just a select couple. And I try to make a different design so that they don't all look the same. I'll do one more, or maybe a couple small ones here. One with the arc on it. And you have to get rid of the excess wax. Let's see. Do an S-curve. Alright, so there's that. Then we can continue. And where I tried to fix this didn't really work because and two, if you let it dry and paint over it, you'll get another look altogether. So I'll try not to let it dry in between. And if I do let it dry, I have to kind of go back and go over the part that dried again just to, get the continuity look that I'm looking for. But that's okay, because it's gonna look like there's a little bit different texture going on, and that's perfectly fine. Alright, so I have one that's kind of green, and I do like to do one that's kind of brown. Not too brown. You get to play with your colors here. That's too dark for me. So I add water. So just, and it doesn't really matter if you completely stay within the lines either, because we're gonna do the outline and that will be all covered up. But yeah, so that side is my shaded side. If you add add more, if you drop in more color while it's still wet, it will dry more, like it'll give you a more gradual look. And that dried on me already. But yeah, I want a little more darker over here. Alright, so then I'm gonna maybe do an orange one. Still kind of with the brown, just adding. I really like this because there's no pressure on getting the right shade. You can just paint. And if I wasn't talking, I would be just relaxing while doing this. And I think that's why I enjoy painting, because I do find it relaxing. So yeah, lots of troubling things in the news these days. I'm trying to stay in the Word more. I think if you are watching this, you are one of the ones I've been praying for, because I've been asking for strength. And His comfort. Alright, so what I'm going to do is kind of concentrate on one side of the paper here, because I want to not have this be a couple hours long, and it could be if I'm not careful, it could be, if I just keep going. But I would run out of things to say, and then it would get pretty dull. Okay, so that one is kind of brown, kind of red. I'm going to do kind of a pinkier one. Again, not clean pink. The idea is to kind of get them all different shades. Because we like the variation. So that's going to dry quite a bit darker on the one side, and that's good. Let's see, I'm going to try and get some kind of a aqua color going here. I'm going to do some smaller ones. If my furnace goes on, I'll probably edit that out, just so you know. So loud. Okay, so I just dipped my blue-ish brush into an olive green, so once I have a few rocks done in a certain place and they've dried, I'll show you the outlining. I do like the blue. I'll go back to that in a couple spots here. I like how the colors mix. You can, I mean, there's a lot of color theory stuff that happens. I don't worry about that. I just want to have fun. And too, sometimes you can just drop a little of the pure color in and get that variation. English was my second language, so I'm not too worried, but some people might cringe. That's okay. Alright, what else? We need some, I don't know, let's try some purple. Purpley brown. Purpley pink. Do this one. You're not going to get the same color twice, I don't think. Just because you're mixing it in such a way where it's not a science experiment, really. You're just playing. And the water does soak it up, so you need, or the paper does soak up the paint. So you need to have quite a bit of water at your disposal so that you can at least keep adding water. That way, if you have it dark on one side and you're working towards a lighter side, then even if you just keep adding water, it'll become gradually lighter. Alright, so still not dry. I don't know what this is. Kind of like a dirty rose. With the light showing on my paper, it looks like, I don't know, it's giving me highlights so I can't see where I'm painting. So hopefully my head is not getting in the way. So there's one of the areas where I had used the wax crayon. Some other things work too if you don't have a wax crayon. I think a white pencil crayon might work. Let's see, what other colors? Maybe a bit of a brighter green. So I just dipped my brush into some water so that I would make sure to get a lighter color on this side of my rock. So there's another stripe showing there. I would do a yellow. I think the only yellows I have are not very yellow at the moment. But since when did that stop me? Oh, it's Friday here today. And it's unusual that I actually knew yesterday what I was planning to do today. Many times when I'm trying to think of what to do for a video, then no ideas come. I don't know if I put too much pressure on myself, but I was looking forward to this page, so that always helps. But yeah, they have to be completely dry before you start doing the outline, otherwise you'll just end up with a mess. And we are getting there. So yes, I have watched a lot of watercolor tutorials. I enjoy that, although I don't have as much time for it since I started working on junk journals. Guess I'll do the heart pink, maybe a little darker on this side. I'm quiet because I like to concentrate on what I'm doing. Don't so much have the gift of gab. If you're here, I'm hoping it's because you're more interested in the scripture than the art. For me, the art is just the means to get the scripture out. Alright, what's going on here? I think it's probably dry enough that I can start venturing towards the outline. Okay, so what we do then, whereas before we wanted the lighter colors, now we are going to be trying to get and if you have a fine line brush, that would be to your advantage here. I don't particularly have with me right now. I'm just using the same brush, but I'm trying to mix up some darkish black. And so here's where your concentration will show. Don't worry about it too much though, because rocks are never perfectly shaped, right? They're always they've got jagged edges. They may be smooth from wear. And with this, if you go over it in black and you still see some lines underneath, just go over it again, and then eventually the lines should disappear. Just go over the lines. But I can already see that that's gonna dry quite light. So I don't have enough of a dark concentration in my black. And that's okay, I'll just do what I said, I'll just keep going over it. But if I wait till it dries, my next coat will dry darker. So just keep that in mind as you're working. It will dry darker if you go over it after it's dried. And in between the rocks, I just follow a line. If it changes the shape of the rock, that's okay too. Did kind of want to outline the edges, so ending my rocks on the outline, because that dark edge will show up later once I take my tape off. So this part will take the longest, doing the outlining. Might take a little bit of practice, but I think it's very forgiving. Like I said, I don't even have a very fine line on my brush, so it's still giving me good results. So we got some snow yesterday, and then the sun came out and pretty much melted. And then we got strong wind, which helped to further melt the snow, which was really nice. Didn't have to worry about slipping and sliding this morning. Alright, how's this looking now? I see where I have to go over some more spots. But I think that's all there is to this. Once you have it outlined, again, you have to wait for it to dry, because you want to see if the black parts are dark enough. Sometimes when I turn my brush, I get a finer point. Just from using it, I guess. But yeah, I will link Diane's video in the description box, so you can check her out. Alright, so something like that. Now, how am I going to move this? Okay, very carefully. Pick up everything so I can continue later. Move this. Alright, so I did the painting one yesterday. In fact, I made two. I'll show you. Let's see. Which one do I want to start with? I kind of really like this yellow part, this orange where it turned to yellow. Maybe I'll do this one. Alright, so then what I want to do is take a piece of paper that is roughly 8 by 4 inches, and but I just want the verse to be a little smaller so that some of the squares, I did the verse on my computer. You could just write it out if you like, no biggie. You could even put it on an index card if you're interested in the font I used. It was the Algerian. Alright, so what I want to do is I want to have the verse showing on this side, and then probably have to put it all the way over to the edge. Something like that. And then I'm going to fold it at the end of the page here. So it goes around. So it's going to wrap around. So I'll do the wrap around first. Just simply like so. And I will probably attach, doesn't really matter which I attach first, the verse to the strip or the strip to the back of the paper. So then when you lift that up, you can see but first you see the verse, and that's what I want. And then in the back here, I'm going to make this a side pocket, I think. I'll just attach it on top and on the bottom. So I'm going to do that, I think, with two-sided tape. Use my arm. Just be careful that you don't cover up your artwork that you spent some time on. Because I almost just did, because I thought, oh, why don't I just put tape on the whole edge there? Because I don't want tape on the front. Sometimes figuring out where to put the tape is the hardest part. Okay, so what did we say? This part makes the pocket, and I want it between, I don't know if it's long enough to matter, but I want it between the holes I made. I'm just gonna fold that over like so. And no, I didn't ink it. How about that? I wonder if there's anything left on my, maybe I could just do this side a little bit. A little bit. Can always cover it up with something later if I need to. Or decorate the other side of the paper. I'll do this side though. And I'll do this side because I haven't attached it, nor am I going to. I got this new favorite color of ink. It is called Brushed Corduroy. And I added some water to it just to make it a little thinner, but of course when you make ink thinner, it's more pronounced, I think. It shows up more readily. So, I don't know, it's kind of got this, well, it's lighter than Vintage Photo, but I think it kind of, it hints at a shine. I don't know. I don't think there's actually a shine in there, but to me it hints. Okay, sorry about that. The furnace went on and I paused it. So all you missed basically was me putting tape, two-sided tape on the back of my verse. So I will put that down. Roughly in the center. Okay, maybe not so much. Anyways, it's there. We won't want perfect, do we, anyways, because we're not perfect. Alright, so then you just flip it and then you can see your artwork. You can write on the back of that. Or you can write on a separate piece of paper and tuck it in there. That would work also. So yeah, I was thinking about the song. It starts off with, I'm not going to sing it, don't worry. It starts with, I will call upon the Lord, for he is worthy to be praised. So shall I be saved from my enemies. And then, the Lord liveth, and blessed be my rock, and let the God of my salvation be exalted. So, may he be exalted in your life today, and may you know his salvation. Thank you for watching. Thanks for joining me, and have a great weekend. Bye for now.